Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things.
The podcast.
I'm Macy,
And I'm Naomi.
and we are two anxious counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
Let's dive in.
Let's go into this vortex. Bring it on.
Bring it
I'm here.
on.
I'm here for this. I don't know what this is, but I'm here for it.
Bring it
And
on like Donkey Kong.
yes, I like
This is
Donkey
a
Kong.
topic I've wanted to do for a while. The name of my topic is Plastic is Not Fantastic.
Oh, I love this topic. I've
You
thought
like
about
that?
this topic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one, right? Super relevant.
Super topical.
Yeah, and it's really changed the way I view the world. So maybe it'll change the way you view the world too, Macy. We'll check in at the end and
Probably.
see.
All right. I'm all for a life-changing moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, maybe just right now, like look around you and look at see the plastic around you, see all the things.
Yeah, well, I had to buy a new product recently, and actually I have to say I compliment this product for being it looks like all recyclables, but because even like what it's folded in, but the one before that was a lot of plastic that had to be thrown away.
Yeah, I guess I don't actually have a lot of practice in this room.
Yeah, actually you
Pretty
asked
good.
that, and I was looking around, I was like, I don't actually have that much, but
Yeah. So plastic is
plastic.
has some benefits, but it also has some real risks. Plastic is detrimental to the earth and everything living on it. And I'm not being dramatic. I'll get into it.
Have you ever had a plastic paper cut? Because that really hurts too.
Ooh, no, I have had a cardboard one, and those suck.
I mean, that's rough. The plastic one, it's like when you're trying to open those really stupid packages that are made for
Nobody to open
no
ever.
what like I have a giant pair of scissors to get into, like the little ones even struggle.
Yeah, where you have to get a pair of scissors to break into the new pair of scissors that you bought.
Right.
Like how
Exactly.
you're supposed
Yeah.
to get at it.
I need meat scissors that I then get scolded for using the meat scissors.
Oh, I have all-purpose kitchen shears that I use for every goddamn thing.
Well,
Everything.
I mean, I think they're all purpose too, but I've
Yeah,
been
they are.
wrong.
If it works, it works. So
Yeah.
recycling is a big fat lie.
Lie. I agree with you. I
And
watched one thing once.
it's been pushed on the consumers
Agreed.
by the very corporations who are creating the problem.
Color. There was a two comedians that did like one doesn't talk at all.
Penn and
Oh,
Teller?
yeah. And they did some show I watched once about recycling plans, and it was eye-opening.
I missed that show. I used to love that show.
Oh, I just got your text message.
The one
See
that
how
said,
broken my
"Where
stuff
did
is?
you go? Why did
No, I
you
saw come
disappear?"
back. It says come back.
Yeah, because you froze
But
and
that's it.
disappeared.
But that's it. Is there more coming?
No.
I'm just gonna send you. I did.
Okay. I'm glad we're all
Am I
caught
both
up in
in
our
the past and
communication
present?
thread. Closing the loop, as I like to say at work.
Yes. Tied in a knot.
So how did we get here, Macy? Would you like some history?
I love history.
I love it too. When it comes alive. So let me make the history of plastic come alive for you. What do you think the word plastic originally meant? That's a
Well, I know like
long pause.
when we talk about plasticity, it's actually about the like flexibility.
Yeah, so that's what it originally meant. It was like pliable and easily shaped. I think
Yeah,
also some people think of like plastic people as being stiff and maybe
and
inflexible.
fake and yeah, and
Fake.
like
Yeah.
rigid.
Yeah. So it's interesting that the word kind of has opposing definitions.
Because there's definitely different types of plastic.
There are. I'm going to get into that. Thank you, Macy.
Great.
I love how
Yeah.
you're just
I'm
foreshadowing
just
the heck out of this topic.
I'm here for you.
So plastic now commonly refers to a category of materials called polymers that consist of long, long chains of molecules. And it's because they have these long, long chains of molecules that they're able to be durable and be molded into pretty much every shape imaginable, right? Like plastic can be made into anything.
Yeah, I mean, because it can melt, right?
Well, not every kind. But yeah,
Some kind.
some kinds can be heated and reshaped, and some kinds can't.
Yeah, I was thinking of those the like 3D printing stuff is what popped up in my mind.
Yeah, and I'm rethinking like that whole scene. Maybe not as
It's a
cool
scene.
as it once was.
Well, now it's a bunch of people's half-made garbage that they didn't do a good job at, and then they put the whole thing in a
And then
call
they
it
make
good.
you buy it.
I mean, if it's good enough.
I don't really like the feeling of 3D printed plastic.
It has like this yeah, it's thin and
It just bothers me. There's something about the lack of density or something about it that bothers me.
yeah. Okay.
So when would you say the first polymer was created? What year?
I'm bad at years in general. What year? Okay.
Let's give a
Well, it's the
decade.
Titanic. It said Titanic was in 1912.
Hey, that's good
Um,
history remembering.
that's the one thing I
Remembered
remembered.
something. Good job, Macy.
My great 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 grandpa William T. Stead died on the Titanic. That's why. Um, that's all I know though.
1869.
That's not far off, and 69's a memorable number.
So 1869, it was first invented. And the original guy, John Hyatt, he was actually inspired because he wanted to save nature. So he wanted to create a substitute for animal products so that animals wouldn't be killed. And specifically, his first inspiration was creating billiard balls that were not made out of ivory because they used to be made out of ivory, which we
And
know,
elephants
endangers
and
elephants.
horns, or rhinos.
Yeah,
Do rhinos have ivory,
the
or is that just
tusks.
elephants?
So in
Is
this
that like a
case, a lot of elephants were being killed, and he
yeah?
wanted to create a substitute. So he figured out how to make a a polymer out of actually cotton fiber
Okay, okay.
to
Well, like
create
the
a
yeah, that makes
plastic.
sense.
And he wanted it to
Like
imitate natural
spiders.
things like tortoiseshell. Like back in the day, like a tortoiseshell comb might be popular.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I have a like a mother of pearl guitar cover thing.
Yeah, so this is like imitating natural elements like ivory, tortoiseshell, horn.
Right? Telling me that my mother of pearl thing might actually just be plastic.
It might. You'll have to do some investigating.
Hmm.
So for a while, polymers were actually made from natural materials. Then in 1907, Leo Baekeland invented Bakelite. Have you heard of Bakelite?
Like a easy bake oven.
Um, I don't know. Maybe they were made out of Bakelite, but this was like the first fully synthetic plastic, and they made all kinds of stuff out of it, like children's toys, kitchenware, radio and telephone casings, jewelry, pipe stems. So I think I have some Bakelite in my house. It's kind of a brittle plastic. So
What would it, can you give me an example of like
like look up
um
an old kid's toy from like 19010 and uh
have one of
that's made
those?
out of plastic and it's probably made out
Well,
of
kind of
Bakelite.
like 3D printing plastic almost.
Um, it doesn't have that creepy feeling, but it is kind of brittle.
I didn't like put creepy on it, so that was the maybe that was my
I think
problem.
that's just my like sensory thing I'm having with it. I don't know. Just something about it. The sound about it too. Like um somebody bought Stella a 3D printed like animal thing that had joints and just the sound it made rubbing was kind of icky to me.
Yeah. I that nice 50-50 cotton blend shirt
Is that your
feeling.
favorite?
That's my favorite. Yeah. No, I'm a big texture person too. Like even when I was going getting this laptop, like it's about how the keys click and
Yeah.
the feel of and if something that like when I opened one of their laptops, it had like kind of like a rough edge on it, but
Oh,
like nothing. But I'm like, I don't want to feel that.
especially something that, I mean, I don't know about you, but my laptop is like a very integral part of my life. So it needs to be
Right.
something that can be my best friend.
Right. I needed a buddy. The last one wasn't a good
Yeah.
buddy. It betrayed me very fast. And there you go in this route.
So today, plastics are made from fossil fuels like
This is where I start
coal.
to get lost, full admitted lost, because I feel like there's a whole thing about fossil fuels that I don't understand.
Well, just know that fossil fuels like coal, natural gas, and crude oil are
Hmm.
some of the materials that plastics today are derived from. So, I mean, we know that this industry is problematic.
Right.
So, plastic is the third most commonly used petroleum derivative in the world, and it
Okay.
comes from non-renewable sources, petroleum. It's
Right.
also contaminating and it's not biodegradable. It can take more than 1,000 years to decompose.
That's more than gum in your stomach.
Is that a myth? We should probably look into that.
It's a myth. It's a myth.
I have swallowed
I've
a
said
lot of gum in my time.
I've said it enough times now. I'm sure I've looked it up in it's a myth.
Okay, because if
I'm
it's
gonna
not a
verify
myth, I
that.
got a lot
Okay.
of gum in there piling up. It's looking like a little Big Rock Candy Mountain inside.
Big Rock Candy Mountain. Does gum
Yeah, let's bust the myths here.
I like the when you put does gum, here's what
Let's go.
break a fast.
Oh,
Does it?
yes. In Judaism, it does.
What if it's sugar free?
In Judaism, if when you're fasting, you can't even brush your teeth.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Um, does gum expire? Yes.
I'm
I've
sure
tried to
it
eat with gum.
does. Doesn't
Does
everything
gum
have a
help
shelf
with
date?
nausea? I think so. Does it have calories? Does gum go bad? Does it clean your teeth? None of these things are what it should be. Does gum digest?
Or is it a lump in your gut forever?
The human body cannot digest the gum base.
But it doesn't sit in there, right? You probably just poop out the gum.
The swallowed gum does not stay in the stomach or cause intestinal problems. That's because our bodies move most materials like gum through our poop.
So I think this was a misinformation act aimed at children. I think they were telling us like, oh, you won't digest it. And we were interpreting that as, oh, it just stays in your stomach.
But who said 7 years? Who was that jerk that
Yeah,
started this whole thing?
the whole
But
thing.
whoa, 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 because isn't that like if you break a mirror, bad luck for,
7 years bad luck.
yeah, like what is the number seven?
Yeah,
Mayhaps.
it's a special number.
Yeah, okay. Well, it says in rare cases, swallowing a large mass of gum, I feel like for safety, I have to say this, or many small pieces of gum over a short period of time can block your digestive tract. And, there's that.
So if you eat like 100 pieces of Hubba Bubba, you may have some problems if you swallowed it all. Yeah, I can see that.
Right. I
Are you a
mean,
gum chewer?
so I have what I call car gum,
What does that
which
mean?
I don't normally like chew gum, but when I'm in the car, if I'm getting anxious or I'm thinking about a lot of stuff or I'm getting stressed out driving, just grounds me a little bit.
Some gum. Do you do like a certain flavor? Like do you like a mint or a
I,
fruity
I don't
flavor?
I don't like peppermint and I'm not a huge spearmint fan. But I don't like fruity flavors either.
So no fruit stripes for you?
No, I was really into those as a child. There's a whole point when I had my entire body covered in those tattoo things. Um, but yeah, no, I it's the the winter
Winter
fresh one.
green?
Yeah, wait, no. Once you go green, that's you're heading towards spearmint. It's the blue version.
Winter blue?
I don't know. I also like the squares where they have like the little poppy exploding things in them. That's quite fun for me.
Yeah, I'm not really a gum chewer.
Yeah.
I'm not even really like a mint person. Occasionally I'll do a mint, but it has to be for the right reason. I think doing a mint to like make your breath better is just a joke. It's just like
That's what I don't,
spraying
yeah, that's a
a
weird
farty
concept to me.
bathroom and then
Agreed.
now you're just having fruit and farts. Like I don't want to have garlic and mint melding together in my mouth. Like I'll just go brush your teeth, at that point.
Agreed. Agreed. Although I do like a good Altoid because, and I think that's from my dad. He always had a can of Altoids.
Yeah, if I am
Um,
gonna do a mint, it will be an Altoid, but I like the
because
minis
they're
because they're vegan.
okay. Yeah, I
The
mean,
big
I just
ones
like
are
because it's
not,
like it's like
interestingly.
getting punched in the face. I'm like,
They're
yeah,
curiously strong, Macy.
it's not curiously strong. It is a adamant punch in the face. I'm
I enjoy it.
not curious about it. I'm like, my
I like things
face.
to be strong. If I'm gonna do it, give me that experience. All right, we've digressed. Um, so there is some good news here. Some plastics are now being made with organic materials, including salt and renewable compounds like grains, corn, potatoes, seaweed, sugar beets, and these are called bioplastics. So to be a real bioplastic,
Microplastics or
they have to be biodegradable and they have to be
okay.
sustainable.
Okay.
So you're like, okay, well, why don't they make all our plastics out of bioplastics? Well, they only make up a small part of the market because they're more expensive now to make. I mean, think about the last time you wanted to buy compostable silverware. It's way more expensive than the cheap shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bought some for the wedding and it was twice the price.
Yeah, so it's like you want to do the right thing, but you also got to protect the bottom line. So there's still only a small part of the market, and I don't believe these big companies are putting it out. It's like smaller companies. All right. Do you want to hear about the three broad categories of plastic that are important to be familiar with?
If they're important, then yeah,
Why wouldn't
for
you?
sure. Yeah, I feel like it's a necessity.
All right. The first category, thermoplastics.
Mm,
So
okay.
Teflon. Do you have any nonstick pans in your house?
So say it has to have to do with heat conducting, right?
Teflon. I know I have some
Teflon is
nonstick
apparently really
pans.
bad for you.
I think they're better than they used to be. I mean, I always heard the
Well, they said that
stories
like
like it's going to
if it's
cause
flaking, you get
Alzheimer's.
cancer.
Yeah, I've heard that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
that's true.
And if I ever get it, like I'm gonna definitely point to my shitty, cheap nonstick pans that I used metal forks in that you're not supposed to, and it was like peeling up, and I'm sure I ingested Teflon in my
Spatulas, yeah.
scrambled eggs. Um, the nonstick pans that I have now are more high end, but you're still supposed to throw them away and replace them if they have any kind of breakdown. But I don't think
I
most people
mean,
do,
I
because
haven't done
again,
that.
that's a privilege to be able to just buy new pans all the time.
Right. Well, and it's like what my fork scrapes at once and my $150 pan, like they're stupid expensive too.
They are. I know.
That's right, use, but yeah.
Yeah, this is why the disparities are real. Poor health always trickles down in the financial chain.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't I would say I have a fair amount of privilege and too many pans comparatively to some folks who don't. I just
I,
don't want somebody to come to my house and see the pans and say that I felt like I was being marginalized. I have a lot of pans.
do you? I'm a minimalist. I do
Yeah.
like my nonstick pans over my stainless steel, even though stainless steel is healthier because they're
I
just
like
easier to clean.
stainless steel is nice for the low and slow. If I'm cooking something low and slow,
Low
but
and
then it burns
slow
if you go
is the tempo. PET plastics. That's another important one to remember because I'm going to speak
for
about
them.
that again later.
Okay. Okay.
So the second category is called thermosets. Now, this is what I was referring to earlier. These will never soften again once they've been molded. So this is some examples are epoxy resins. Have you ever made like crafts with epoxy resins?
I mean, I'm not a big crafter, but is it the same thing as like E6000 like glue type stuff?
Sort of, yeah. Like I've made like different crafts where you put some stuff and some epoxy resin, make some like jewelry or something, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Polyurethane falls into this. I've used polyurethane on like wood products to seal them.
Okay.
Ever like sealed a wood floor or a wood craft with a
I
polyurethane
mean,
product?
I've done like stains.
Yeah, I don't know if those would qualify.
I'm probably a bad example for this, I guess.
And then our friend the Bakelite falls into that. So our
Okay.
third category are called elastomers. And as the name says, they are elastic in character. So they can return to their rubber shape after stretching. So an example is rubber and neoprene. But you
Okay.
can buy clothes made out of neoprene, like
Neoprene,
wetsuits.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So those are like
It's like
three like broad categories. But here's another category that has really been in our awareness a lot recently due to polluting our oceans, and that's microplastics.
as I say, I've heard of microplastic, um, because of like people's bath products, like stuff. The
These are
little
bad.
beads.
So
Hmm.
to be a microplastic, they have to be less than 5 millimeters in their longest dimension.
Okay.
So they can either be manufactured in this size originally, so sometimes with cosmetics to get like a glow effect, that can be an example. Or they can result from the breakdown of larger plastic items, just over time breaking down into smaller bits. So plastic is everywhere. It's completely pervasive. I mean, think about it. It's in your car, right? Didn't used to be. Cars didn't
Right.
used to have
Yes.
plastic.
Sorry.
You cranked that
Yes.
beauty light way up.
Yeah, no, I was trying to see if I could get the screen brighter and I can, but it's like horribly bright.
It's very bright.
I'm gonna turn that bad boy. I mean, that's fantastic, but not for right now.
So
Turn
it's
that
in our
back.
technology. I mean, phones have plastic, lots
Yeah.
of other technology. Sports and leisure. You know, we played roller derby. Our knee pads had plastic coverings. Our
Hmm.
skates probably had, you know, the wheels, polyurethane right there. That's
My keyboard
plastic.
mouse.
Yeah,
Plastic.
mouth guards, right? That's plastic probably, I'm thinking. So it's in
Yeah.
agriculture. I mean, the big tubs that you feed your cows with, those plastic tubs. It's like everywhere. It's in medicine, like the shots or the pill bottles. You know, it's literally everywhere. Packaging. I mean, come on, packaging. Like you
Everywhere
go
in
to
fact.
the downside of Trader Joe's, even though I love Trader Joe's, is it's overly packaged. Like you have a cardboard box, then inside there a plastic bag. Like, do we really need both of those things?
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
Agree.
so plastics have led to financial savings because often things are cheaper if you buy a plastic version. They've helped to make our lives easier and in some ways safer. So, like car seats, for example, are made out of plastic, you know. Stella drives around encased in a plastic safety device. batting helmets, plastic there. So they've made our lives easier and more convenient. When I was born, when I was like baby pooping and peeing Naomi, like what was called plastic diapers or disposable diapers were just like coming out. And they
Okay.
were, not something everybody had. And so I had cloth diapers because plastic diapers were more expensive but, way more convenient. When I had my kids, I started off with cloth diapers, but as soon as their poop turned to real poop about 6 months in, I'm like, hell no. I switched to disposable diapers just because I don't have the time to do all that to like wash
Right.
out the cloth diapers and always be laundering them and all of that,
A lot of
folding
work.
them. It's a lot of work. So plastics are convenient.
Right.
So they really started getting mass produced off after World War II, but like the 60s and 70s, this is when it really started to come up for convenience. They're cheap, versatile, sanitary, right? You could throw something away for a single use, or they're easier to clean than like a
Right.
wood product, for example, or a
Mm-hmm.
cloth product.
Mm-hmm.
So consumers didn't really have a choice, like the industry started switching. Look at an old classic car. There's no plastic in that. And
No,
now cars have tons of plastic, like it'll be in the dash, it'll be around the seats,
everywhere. The bumpers. It's a
bumpers,
big.
yeah. And used to we have these beautiful chrome bumpers, which I'm
I
still a
mean, I
fan
think it was
of a
a
beautiful
safety
chrome
thing,
bumper.
but yeah.
But there's a lot of plastic, and
Mhm.
there's so much, packaging that's plastic.
Waste, right?
So how many metric tons of plastic do you think humans created in 2017?
What would be an example of a ton worth?
A metric ton.
Well, yeah. Give me an
So,
example.
um, I think that one elephant is 7.5 metric tons.
That's a very specific example. Okay. So one elephant is 7 point
We're
something.
always going to bring it back to elephants as our measuring stick.
I'm okay with that. They never forget. So,
They never
um,
forget.
also probably a myth, but actually very good familial bond. So maybe they don't.
There they go.
Um, yeah. Okay. So how many years? What am I doing?
In 2017, because that was the
Well,
stat I
like
could find.
math. Okay.
All right, I'll just tell you.
Um, thank you. Thank you.
8.3 billion metric tons.
That's a lot of elephants. There's
So
not even
that's
that many
equivalent to
elephants.
1 billion elephants.
No, too
So
many elephants.
about 2/3 of all the plastic that has ever been produced has been released into the environment and remains there in some form.
Mm-hmm.
You know how there's like geological ages, like the Cretaceous period?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Like in the you can see through the rocks and stuff too.
Yeah,
That's really
so
scary.
our current geological age, the official name is Anthropocene, but it's being called the Plasticine epoch.
Okay.
And our geological age is characterized by a time when humans have come to significantly impact terrestrial ecosystems. That's our
Okay.
freaking legacy. Like we're ruining it. We're fucking it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that doesn't shock me, but yeah.
So plastic creation is not decreasing, it's actually increasing. More than half of all the plastic ever produced has been produced in the last 15 years, and it's continuing to grow and accelerate. And so experts estimate that the production of plastic will double from where it is today by 2025. That's like next freaking year.
Yeah, yeah, they said that like way far away. Love
Yeah,
it.
it's scary. So plastic's everywhere. I mean, I took a hard look around my house and my life after like doing this research. And Stella's little bottle that she drinks her rice milk out of plastic. I saw my son's water bottle plastic. Now I'm like super like cued into it and it's like plastic, danger, danger, danger.
Hmm.
Like, do you have a plastic water bottle? Do you have a stainless steel one?
I have a stainless steel. Yeah.
I do
Hydrophone.
too. And Stella's water bottle stainless steel, but her milk cup is plastic. So I
Hmm.
really am gonna replace that like immediately because she drinks out of that thing all day long. And then like your food containers, are they plastic or are they glass or stainless steel or some other material?
Ceramic or glass.
Okay, that's good. What about do you use like plastic sandwich bags or snack bags?
I have them. I don't typically eat leftovers that I don't like. So, yes. But
We've
yeah,
discussed
there's
this, I think.
plastic. There's plastic bags in there for sure.
Yeah, and then like do you buy microwave food that's in a plastic thing?
I do like, yeah, I mean, they're wrapped in a plastic thing. Those the like noodle bowls.
Yeah, I just made a plastic microwave lunch thing today. And I was like, the whole time I'm like, I'm dying right now. I'm killing myself.
Yeah.
So on a global level,
Most of those, by the way, just say pour boiling water in and everybody microwaves them. It's probably a reason you're not supposed to microwave it.
yeah, there's way reasons. So plastics have displaced many traditional materials such as like paper, metal, glass, ceramic, wood, stone, horn, and bone. So who makes the most plastic waste of any country?
China. I was gonna say us, but
Us.
that felt too easy. Yeah, okay. All right. I
It's
assumed it was
the
us, but
US and the UK. We produce more plastic waste per person than any other nation. So, on an average, each of us, each American, generates an average of, you're going to be horrified by this, 231 pounds of plastic waste per year.
wow.
Each of us.
Okay,
And
that's
I was
crazy.
looking at my trash today. Like yeah, there's like my microwave container thing. There's some plastic wrap that something was packaged in. There's the like the liner of the cereal box that was in there. Like so much
Mhm.
plastic. This is just like one glance into my trash can. This is not, a whole year. So the top producer of plastic globally is China. They produce 32% of the global market. So here's like one of the big problem areas. It's the single-use plastic items,
Mhm. Like straws.
straws, flatware, shopping bags, cups. Around the world, 1 million plastic bottles are purchased every minute. 1 million
Wow.
plastic bottles. It's crazy.
Too
So
many. Hmm.
guess what the US company is that's responsible for the most single-use plastics and also the most plastic waste in the world? It's a US company is number one of the whole world.
Walmart?
Exxon.
Oh, okay.
But good
Okay.
guess. So I looked at a list of the top 30 company worldwide, and the other two US companies are Dow, who make everything, and Chevron.
Okay. Okay. I wonder why the gas companies,
Gas companies? Oh,
like
you said?
Shell and Exxon, right?
Yeah, Exxon's the first, number one.
Okay.
Want to hear about the lie of recycling?
Yeah, I do.
Because I want to tell you about the lie of recycling.
Well, I want you to tell me because I'm picturing I'm probably picturing what it isn't. So,
Outside of those that are like on the inside, so outside of those that like work in the industry of waste and
right.
recycling, most of the US public have assumed, and I'm guessing you're the same as me, that you recycle stuff and that it goes to like some US factory and they like process the plastic and workers turn it into like shiny new products.
Hmm.
Like, how are you picturing recycling?
I always have this assembly line in my mind where people are sitting there like sorting. That's what I view. It's just sorting.
I'm
Or like
sorting.
when my family members would have like these big bags of like black bags of like soda pop cans, they go and at the time it'd be like 5 cents or 10 cents a can. I don't know, penny a can. I don't know. Money.
So you're picturing like the
Yeah.
front end of like the first step of recycling or the second step. Like
Right,
we,
right,
we
right,
put
right.
it in a bag and then it gets sorted. Like
Yes.
what did you think happened to that stuff like after that?
After that, yeah, cubes. Have you watched Brave Little Toaster? Something like that. I'm gonna close my door real quick, but yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
where it would somehow get turned into something useful, right?
right, or just a cube that gets dropped off in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, in the ocean. No, I was thinking they would actually make it into new stuff. Like they would take my old plastic stuff, like a plastic water bottle, for example, and combine it with
Sorry,
other old plastic
I
water
lost it.
bottles and take that product
Yeah.
and make new plastic water bottles. That's what I
Well,
kind of thought.
and there's some things that do that, right? Sorry,
Well,
cool.
only
Whereas
5
nothing.
to 6% of plastics are actually recycled. I was horrified when I saw that statistic. 5 to 6% of plastics are actually recycled that are turned in for recycling.
Pretty horrible.
So the plastics industry knowingly pushed the recycling myth on consumers. So there's this big report that just came up that released
Was it
statements by executives in the oil and plastic industry. They're old statements, they're from the 90s, but I think they're still revealing. So in 1994, an Exxon vice president said this about recycling. We are committed to the activities, but not committed to the results. And in
okay?
1992, a DuPont exec said about recycling, the plastic industry set these goals knowing they were unlikely to meet them. So the companies,
Okay.
big plastic, big oil have said that those old statements, they don't reflect the way the industry is today. They're old. They're working on new technology that will solve this problem. Everything's fine. So the plastic industry has made this promise. By 2040, which is like 15 years from now, it feels far away considering how dire things are. So they've promised by 2040, all US plastic packaging will be reused, recycled, and recovered. So what I noticed about that statement, at first I missed it. I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, they're trying or they're saying they're trying, but they're only saying plastic packaging. They're not
Everything
referring
else.
to like anything else. It's just such a small part of plastic. They're just talking about
Mm-hmm.
packaging, which
Right.
they're not defining, so they could again limit what they're actually were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's, great to have goals and put it out there, but what's the current state? Like that's what's real. All that's real is now. So in the US, most of plastic is put in landfills. Some gets incinerated. So locally, our stuff gets incinerated.
Plastic.
Plastic.
That's
Yeah.
an
So
old
if
one,
you
but
throw that away, it's gonna get incinerated if you put it in the recycling.
I probably won't do that. This is one of those fancy ones, the Brita filter.
Oh, Brita.
More, more plastic.
More fancy plastic.
Plastic and plastic.
So in the US, we're actually creating and producing more plastic than we have the capacity to manage. So what are we doing with all
I mean,
that
yeah,
plastic waste?
we have to start eating it, don't we?
We're sending it to other countries, is what we're
Well,
doing. We're
yeah,
putting it on ships and sending it out. So right now, our main destinations are Canada and Mexico. So in those other countries, we don't know if they are incinerating it at the proper temperatures to not make toxic air. We just don't
make
know.
it
It's
worse.
outside of our control. We
Well, and
worse.
obviously they stopped carrying it when they dropped it off.
I mean, it's outside of our control, right? We were sending our plastics to China, but China was like, we don't want your garbage anymore. So in 2018, they banned foreign waste products, and then the other Asian
Nice.
countries followed along. So that limited. So that's why now we're just going to Canada and Mexico because our other options to export plastic waste were like, hell no, we got our own problems. So PVC is the most difficult plastic to recycle, and it also is toxic, but it's still used for in all kinds of products. And then PET that I mentioned earlier is the easiest to recycle. So a lot
Okay.
of plastic products, and this is where I think people are confused, and I've been confused. You see the little arrow things on it where it says it's recyclable. And so you're like,
Right.
well, that's fine because it's recyclable. So I'm actually part of the solution, not part of the problem. So even, you know, what's called styrofoam, but the polystyrene
Yeah.
takeout boxes, like from restaurants,
Yeah. Yeah.
it has that recycling symbol on them. But in Spokane, I went on our waste management website. They say throw
Yeah.
these away.
Washington's really limited in what they recycle.
Well, it's actually not even cost effective to recycle that material. So there's very few places that are even going to do it. And so in order for something to be truly recyclable, there has to be a vendor that wants to purchase the product, or else it's not actually recyclable. So just saying it's
Right.
recyclable and putting a symbol on it, yeah, in theory it's recyclable. But if your location doesn't have the capacity for it and nobody wants to buy that to process it, then it's not recyclable.
I have a question. So I was just thinking if you go to like the local landfills around here, like there's one pretty close to me. They it looks like they kind of put it in, like you put your stuff over and they like just kind of keep pushing it back and pushing it back. Like I don't see sorting happening. Do they actually sort it like my brain pictures?
I don't think so.
Like if there's a plastic bag in there, is that ruining the entire thing?
Yeah,
No?
that's why recycling is a lie. Nobody's sorting that. And in
That's
addition, we recycle wrong. Like if you actually go on our local waste management site, they tell you if there's any food in it at all in recycling, the whole
grease
thing's
and
contaminated. It's all trash. So if you're not thoroughly cleaning out your bottles or containers, it's trash.
which who is so really it's all just trash. Well, I mean, I've gone to the landfill place and they have like where you can drop off cardboard and they are pretty particular.
Yeah, they want
It
it
has to
broken
be
down. It needs to be big pieces.
corrugated,
They don't want your little pieces. So
yeah,
also anything little is trash.
right.
They don't want to deal with it.
Corrugated cardboard,
So like
unmarked.
pristine, clean, broken down cardboard may actually get recycled.
Mhm.
Certain kinds of glass, I think if it's clean, may actually get there. Aluminum cans, I believe. But I used to for years just throw a can of ravioli in there and think, oh, it's getting recycled. It's not, that was just going to the trash because it's just filled with food. Nobody wants to deal with that.
No.
They're not going to. So everybody thinks that they're doing good by recycling. And I think that's part of what we as consumers have been fed. Like, it's fine, buy plastic because we're going to recycle it. It's going to be made into something new and shiny and it's all good.
I feel like I was pitched that maybe in like middle school, but I don't see it happen. It's the things that they're like twice as expensive to buy a recycled straw.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big
Mhm.
problem. And in my house, they've cut back recycling in this last year. They don't pick it up every week. It's only every other week.
Same here. And I was told I I had a visitor and they were like, "Oh, do you recycle?" And I do, but and they were like, "Well, if you don't recycle everything, because apparently there was something I tossed into the garbage, then you don't recycle."
Yeah, there's a lot of judgment around it,
It's
right?
like, I have a very full garbage and a very full recycling bin, so
Yeah, and if it all ends up in the same place, that's what people need to understand. And that's that only 5 to 6% of plastic is actually being recycled. Our county website, Spokane County, actually has this motto on it. When in doubt, throw it out.
I like it because it's like, don't waste people's time.
But that's not the message that's out there. And again, there's this whole stigma around throwing away something that's quote unquote recyclable when it's actually not.
Garbage. It's like if you go and donate stuff at like Goodwill or something and you drop off your like broken things. Nobody wants your broken,
Nobody
smelly
wants your broken
trash.
shit. Throw it in the
No.
trash.
Right.
Like, here's my thing. Yes, there's things that we can do as consumers, but
Right.
I feel like consumers have been put into the place of solving the freaking problem that these companies have created.
Hmm.
Like it's a trickle down problem. Like they're all super fat and rich and they're making their plastic and we're buying it because it's inexpensive, it's convenient, it's maybe our only option, but then we're put in the position of trying to figure out what to do with it. And then we're the bad guy if we're not quote unquote recycling, which is not even real.
Every other week.
Every other week. And the amount of, I mean, here's another topic, but the amount of Amazon packages that I've delivered to my house every other week doesn't sustain me.
No, agree. Agree.
So plastic was put out in the world without an end game plan. And
As most things
so
were.
no, there was no plan put out. And it's detrimental to the earth and all of its inhabitants while making the pockets of big oil and big plastic super rich. So the reality is it's cheaper to create new plastic products than to recycle. So why
Yeah.
wouldn't companies just make new stuff?
How do you make plastic? I don't know this answer.
How do you make plastic?
Yeah.
Well, it comes from the petroleum products, like crude
So like,
oil and
okay,
stuff and coal.
right, but like then what? So it's a liquid
Well, I mean, I don't
first.
know the nitty-gritty of it, but they put it
I
in
feel
a
like I
big
need to
pot
know
and mix it up. I don't know.
okay. I feel like I need to look. Can I look it up?
Sure.
How is plastic exist? Okay. That is so like you said, made from things like that. Great. And then
Please tell me they put it in a big pot and stir it up with a fire underneath it
mm,
and a big spoon, like a
like a whole
cauldron.
thing on cauldron. I like that. Here's a simple explanation. So this says it's loading. Okay, here we go. It says number one, extraction of raw materials, largely crude oil, natural gas, but also coal. These are a complex mixture of thousands of compounds that are then compressed. So then the refining process transforms crude oil into different petroleum products uh, to yield useful chemicals, including monomers, a molecule that is the basic building block of polymers. Hmm. In
So
the
here's me
refining.
going out on a limb.
Okay.
I'm going to say a monomer is one mer and polymers are multiple mers.
Oh, that's not that big of a limb. It might have a lot of branches, but um Yeah, and then it says that the polymerization is a process in the petroleum industry where light olefin gases, gasolines, are converted into higher molecular weight hydrocarbons, polymers. This
Yeah.
happens when monomers are chemically bonded into chains. There are two different mechanisms for polymerization. So they come together and form a group.
So that process releases toxic pollutants into the environment. So plastic
Oh,
manufacturing plants
okay.
pollute the environment. So there's a place in southern Louisiana called Cancer Alley, and they
Not
have
a good nickname.
cancer rates that are more than 50 times higher than the national average, more than 50 times higher. And it's because there's so many chemical and plastic manufacturing plants there. And it's who lives there? It's Black and low income individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So beyond recycling, plastic is so ingrained in our lives. So it's really, I think, unrealistic at this point to think we're going to live without it. But
Right.
we could decrease production. We could definitely not make the hard to recycle kind. We could get rid of single use items. You
Right.
know, those like Kirkland, Costco flats of bottled water you see, like
Uh,
let's not
yeah.
make that kind of thing. Let's not
Yeah.
make the flatware. Let's not make the sandwich bags. Let's not put our
And
like
they have
anything that's
reusable all of those
yes,
things. So,
anything that's not reusable, let's get rid of it. And I think we got to educate the public about the chemicals that go into the plastic and the effects of the chemicals on our
well, if
bodies
people
and
will
on our
tend to be
environment.
very selfish. So, like, it can't be about the environment. It can't be about other people. It has to be about them. So, you have to, like, maybe we could create a life-size dummy of the person we're trying to educate, and then we're gonna poison them with these gases and have them watch it kill their life-size dummy.
What would you say if I told you if you and I went and had our blood tested today that there would be plastic in our blood?
Yeah, I mean, I always like Inspector Gadget.
So I saw this documentary and some people got their blood tested for 35 chemicals that are banned because they're toxic.
Hmm.
And they had almost all of them in their blood. So if we test our blood right now, we're going to have plastic in our blood showing up. Like it's pervasive everywhere now. And so it's being linked to increased rates of colon cancer in young people, which have increased dramatically lately. And when they took samples of their cancerous tissue, there was plastic in their cancerous colon tissue. And so
Mm.
now microplastics are being linked as a driver for early onset. This is young people in their 20s of colon cancer. So plastics also contain what's called endocrine disrupting chemicals. So these are chemicals that either mimic or block the body's hormones
Okay.
that are needed for healthy fetal development and other essential growth and development processes, including metabolism, puberty, and fertility.
Okay.
And plastic is being found, you know how they used to,
Like MSG.
well, do you remember in COVID when they were like te test the poop in the water to just see like how much COVID, like that was how they could tell like how pervasive
I don't
COVID
remember
was.
that at all.
Oh, they were t testing from the sewage plant samples because they could tell the COVID rates because it would show up in those
Wow.
samples.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
So it's everywhere. So we're pooping it out, we're peeing it out. Um, Plastic is so pervasive. It's in the water that we'll drink from plastic water bottles. So anytime we're drinking water out of a
It's like
plastic
in
water
this where
bottle,
it's like BPA free.
yeah, I mean that's just yeah, the material that they made it out of doesn't have that chemical, but it's still the water's leaching the
Plastic.
plastic from the
Right.
actual water bottle. It's in salt because the microplastics are in the ocean. So if we evaporate the water to make sea salt, it's going to be filled with plastic.
Okay.
It's actually being taken in our soil now. And so it's in the root system of our plants and our agriculture and our crops.
I heard it's really bad in the like when I went to Hawaii, they were said that all the microplastics and like killed off a ton of populations of fish
Yeah,
and stuff.
devastating. One bite of an apple can contain a couple 100,000 bits of microplastic because the
I'll just
tree,
stick with my prepackaged noodles, okay?
the air is even contaminated by plastic, and babies born today have plastic in their blood. So it's being transmitted.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, I think back,
Crazy.
my boys were little, they drank, you know, if I had to, I breastfed them, but if I had to pump, I was pumping with a plastic pump, storing it in plastic bottles, and then putting
Right.
it in
Well,
plastic bottles that I was heating up to
and
give them.
I would kind of want to know like yeah, it's not good for you, but like how much is too much sort of deal. Because like everyone's doing it.
Well, people are dying from colon cancer, so I'd say that's
Well, they're
evidence.
not well, I'm not saying that's not happening, but it's statistically, like you said, everybody's using it. So how many people are getting colon cancer? Is it everybody or is it 1 in 10? Like, what
No,
are
but
my
there's
odds
a
here?
very significant increase in young people getting colon cancer right now.
Yeah. Okay. Hmm.
And that's just one example. Studies have linked to exposure to um, styrene, which is the material that they make like the takeout boxes or like cup of
Oh,
noodles boxes. They've linked
yeah.
it to genetic damage in white blood cells and certain blood cancers. So what's really bad is when you heat it and your food is in it, that
I just,
increases the transfer of chemicals to our bodies. So that's those microwave plastic
uh-huh.
trays.
Yeah, yeah.
Steamed vegetable bags. Have you ever bought one of those where they're like,
Someone was
throw it in
telling
the
me about
microwave and you're gonna have some green beans?
the
Hmm.
signs of farting that like when it's heated up, it makes it smell worse. Remember when you talked about it was we talked about it at some point.
Brussels sprouts or broccoli, probably.
I don't know, but like just the heated aspect makes it smell
Heated. Yeah.
worse.
So heating plastic that your food is in increases the transfer of chemicals.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it used to be a whole thing where you'd get a coffee cup, a styrofoam coffee cup, out of a vending machine. You put your money in, it would drop down, the coffee would fill it up. Every sip, you're ingesting those chemicals. The polystyrene is actually transferring to your body. So I am not going to microwave in plastic anymore. I'm gonna take the food out and put it on a plate. I mean, really, I shouldn't be buying that shit anyway, but it's a convenience.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
busy, and sometimes my meal prepping includes buying a bunch of
Plastic.
frozen shit that I can throw in my bag as I leave in the morning.
Some cup of noodles. Right.
Yeah. So really,
Okay.
we need to have an end of life strategy for plastics, especially those that can get into the environment and into our bodies. But the burden, I think, needs to come from the top because I feel like it's been placed on us, the consumer.
The systemic issue.
It definitely is. Yeah.
Like don't make us well, so the corrugated cardboard, like when you go to take that to recycle even. So that's free to do, at least here. But like you said, all that other stuff, which you think you're recycling, and they tell you have to take it to the regular bin, you have to pay for that too.
Oh, yeah. Good
And
point.
they go by weight.
Yeah. So again, yeah, the burden's being placed on us
Hmm.
to pay money to deal with the problem that's making the fat cats rich. It's so effed up. Well, that's it.
Ah, well, I really wanted one of those giant sumo suits for fighting. in the yard.
But are they made out of plastic?
Yeah, I'm assuming. So it's making me rethink my life choices.
Yeah, no, I've been viewing the world through a totally different lens since I did this research, like a completely different lens.
Hmm.
I'm gonna, because my older son has like a nice stainless steel water bottle, but he doesn't like it because it's heavy. He likes to use a plastic one. I'm just gonna throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just throw mine in the garbage. Wherever it went, it disappeared. It's
I mean,
gone
I guess
forever.
I can throw it in the recycling, see what happens, but it's probably gonna end up in the garbage
It's
once it's
yeah,
out of my hands anyway. I don't know, like, is it worth it to even do things that like make us feel good about ourselves?
no,
It's not, right?
it's just not. No.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Well, until next time, remember the three R's.
Reduce, reuse,
Reduce,
recycle.
how about we just do the two R's? Reduce and reuse.
Reduce and reuse. Yes. I mean,
I
if
mean,
people
sure,
stop buying, that would force the companies to change.
right. Because the whole idea of recycling on its own makes people feel like they're like part of a change, even though they're
Yeah.
doing like literally nothing different.
We're being the change. Yeah, and you got guilted.
Oh yeah, yeah, I got shamed in my own house.
Yeah, and it's all lies. It's a pack of
Yeah,
lies.
I'm sorry I didn't rinse out the can. It seems like a waste of my life.
Yeah. I mean, we got to prioritize, pick and choose when we're spending our time and energy on.
But that's like, I want to know how important is that really? Is somebody looking at the can going, ew, and it got on their hand? Or is it just being pushed off a truck and nobody sees it again?
I think that it's probably more just being pushed off a truck and nobody ever sees it again.
I
Oh, that
think,
reminds me, I was going to show you this picture. Oh my gosh. This picture. Look at this picture. This is a snapshot of some plastic waste.
oh gosh.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where all our plastic waste is going, and it's not being recycled.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
because,
it's not even sorted. It's just
well,
dumped.
like, yeah, recycling it's a process. It needs money behind it. It needs workers. And who's doing that?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
not economically feasible.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's what I remember on that show. I mean, they talked about a lot of stuff, but the big takeaway from them was that basically recycling isn't real, in the sense that the way it's pitched that this is saving money and saving the environment. But one of the things that you didn't hit on, I don't think, they said that the amount of like just emissions that are it takes to process a recycling plant
yeah,
is more so or at least equivalent to just
yeah.
putting it in the landfill.
Oh, that reminds me. I was going to talk about that in relation to, all that like hullabaloo about those like thermos water bottle things that everyone
What's
is
wrong
like
with those?
attacking people about
I
recently.
miss No, tell me what's wrong with them because I have those.
No, people like were crazy about him, but the whole
Okay.
thing with a reusable water bottle is you need to use it for a really long ass time to balance out and
Oh,
mitigate the cost, the big picture cost of just using something disposable. So if you're getting a reusable bottle because it's the new fad or the new thing like all the time, you're not actually helping the situation and you're contributing to the problem because
called the maintenance or not maintenance stage. Sorry. Wow. No, it's called the uh there's pre-contemplation and there's contemplation. You kind of think there's a problem. And then there's what am I thinking? Preparation. There you go. You
preparation.
bought the gym membership and you got the yoga pants and you bought the water bottle, but you have not shown up on that treadmill.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm committed. I have two stainless steel reusable water bottles. One
I
is a
have two.
big and one is a small, and I plan to use them until they are not usable anymore. So that's one small thing I can do as a consumer.
Yeah, yeah. I watched a thing where a young girl kept all like tried to reduce all plastics and had it all in like one Ziploc bag for a whole year's worth that she used. Like that's impressive. I can't. My dog's over there, and I just heard the rustle of plastic.
Yeah. I mean, remember, 231 pounds of plastic trash is what the average American produces each year. So,
Yeah, and I'm sure the impact on communities in other countries is just devastating.
yeah, they don't want our
Seems
trash. We got to figure out our own problems there.
like we need to like maybe dissolve it.
Well, yeah, but it has to be like it has to make sense in the big picture, you know?
Safe.
Like, are those processes going to be harmful to the environment? What's the cost? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's so complex.
We just need to like we need that ooey green stuff from Who Framed Roger Rabbit that like just melts people.
Oh, okay. I'm down.
Okay.
Let's melt some
Yeah.
people.
I mean,
Let's melt some faces.
you said it. And until next time, if you smelt it, you dealt it unless it's hotter near someone else.
True. Yeah. Bye.